Hey there everyone, and today we're going to be learning about how to set up and use a Trezor hardware wallet. Now, hardware wallets are one of the safest ways to keep your cryptocurrency. So what we've done today is we've ordered a brand new Trezor wallet, and we're going to be walking through the entire unpackaging process, how to set it up, and how to use it so that you are ready to keep your crypto safe. So the first thing that I want to do here is I want to make sure that this hasn't been opened up, it hasn't been tampered with, it hasn't been breached, because it is common for people to get these from alternative websites, alternative vendors, and there's been a middleman in the process that has tampered with these wallets so that they can steal your crypto. So with that being said, you do not want to order these from anywhere other than Trezor.io. Anywhere else, it could have been tampered with. You don't want to take that risk. Trust me when I say this, you want to get it from just Trezor themselves. So I'm looking around the packaging right now. It looks pretty good. I see the serial number, which is what we want to see, and it hasn't been opened up so far. So what I want to do here is I want to go ahead and actually open up the packaging, and we can begin the process. So I'm going to try to keep this in front of the camera here as we are going through this, and we can continue to just walk through this process together. Alright, and now that I have the package open, we can go ahead and see what's inside here. So at the top, it's going to give us a list of instructions that we're going to be walking through in just a second. And then we have the Trezor wallet itself right here. So if you're wondering what the wallet is inside of the case, I know that there are some other little knickknacks like this one. This is going to be the wallet itself. Now, there's going to be some silver lining on the bottom of the wallet. You're just going to want to go ahead and peel that off so that it looks like this now, and you can see that there is now a little hole in the very bottom of the wallet, and this is going to be what connects our wallet to our computer. Now, the rest of this case also holds a list of deeper instructions for us, so if you want to get very granular, maybe you got lost at some step in this process, you can either rewind the video or you can use this little instruction card right here. I'm going to hold this up to the screen, and don't mind the green screen getting a little funky with it in the background. And then the final pieces of paper that we have two cards, and these two cards are going to be identical in nature, but they're going to both look like this, and they're going to say your personal recovery seed phrase once you open it up. Now, this is going to be arguably one of the most important steps in the process, so you're going to want to keep both of these around, because if you open it up, you're going to see a list here of numbers 1 through 12, and this is where we're going to be putting our seed phrase. Again, we're going to dive into this in just a little bit once we go ahead and get the wallet connected. But beyond this, we can go ahead and see that there's really nothing else that's too important in here beyond just, the Trezor wallet itself, the instructions, our personal seed phrase recovery. We get a couple of stickers, which is cool. And then the final box that we have is this little black box, which is going to hold the adaptation cord, which we're going to plug right into our computer. So the small end of that cord is going to go and plug right into the Trezor, and then the USB-C side, or the big side of that cord, is going to go into our computer. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm using a desktop, so my desktop is a little bit across the room, but I'm going to go ahead and plug in my Trezor into my computer, and then we're going to jump back in once it's connected. So now that we have plugged our Trezor into our computer, we need to go back to the packaging and look at these inside instructions again. So step 1 was to connect our Trezor to our smartphone or computer, which is done now. So we can go ahead and move on to step 2 here, which is go to trezor.io/start in our web browser. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen here so that we can see exactly what this looks like. So let's go ahead and switch over to that. And the web page is going to look like this. And it's going to say, hey, congratulations on getting your new Trezor. Go ahead and begin the setup process by downloading the Trezor Suite app. Now, I am using a Windows computer here, so I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow, and I would click on Windows. And again, I already have this installed, but if you're using another device like a Mac or a Linux, or you're using a smartphone like iOS or Android, there's going to be an option for all of you here. And these are all the options that we're going to have available. So I would click Windows, and then once it's downloaded, we can go ahead and open up the Trezor Suite app, which I'm going to go ahead and make full screen here. Now, if this screen doesn't come up yet, you might just have to unplug and replug your Trezor back in, and then it's going to bring us to the first security check. Now, it's going to ask you to install the firmware. which you're going to need to do. So, if you see that come up and say, hey, Trezor needs to install the firmware, it's perfectly okay to do it. But I'm going to go ahead and click here that I want to go ahead and begin the setup process of this Trezor. So it's going to say firmware ready. Again, if you need to update, if you need to install this, I've already done this process with Trezor before, so I'm not going to need to go ahead and do it again, but I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Now, step one really begins, or rather step two here, with creating a wallet. We're not going to need to recover a wallet because we're making a new one here. So I'm going to go ahead and click create new wallet. Now from this, I'm going to click on standard seed backup because this is the most traditional way of doing things. If you've set up a MetaMask or another kind of soft wallet online through a browser extension or something like that, then this is the process that you're probably going to be the most comfortable with. So I'm going to click on standard seed backup, and it's going to ask me to confirm this on my Trezor. So I'm going to walk over, click confirm, and we'll jump right back in. So now that I have clicked confirm, we need to set up a backup. So don't get lazy with this part. Don't skip the backup. I think it's a really important part of this process. So we're going to click on the green button here that says create a backup. Now once I do this, it's going to want to make sure that I have everything on my Trezor ready and I understand the entire process. And it's going to want me to click each one of these backups. So I'm going to go ahead and click begin backup. So now it's going to say a recovery seed backup is a series of randomly generated numbers. Again, a lot of us are going to be very familiar with this part, and it's going to ask me to confirm this on my Trezor, which I have to go over, and we'll go ahead and click confirm and jump back. Now, one more quick thing about this process is this is going to be the part where we're actually setting up our seed phrase. So on our Trezor, we're going to see 12 different words numbered 1 through 12. And those are the words that we're going to want to put on this card here. So I'm not going to reveal mine because, again, anyone who has access to this information is going to have full access to everything inside of your wallet, including both deposits and withdrawals. So you do not want to share this information with anyone that you don't want having full control over your cryptocurrency. So on your Trezor in this step, you're going to see those words that are numbered 1 through 12. You're going to want to open up your tablet with a pen and paper. We're not storing this on a Google Drive. We're not storing this on a Dropbox. We're not storing this in some sort of cloud or on our computer somewhere. We are writing this down so that even if our devices are breached, no one's going to have access to this. So open up your recovery seed part, the little paper that you got, and write down each one of these words where they directly correlate with the numbers. We don't want to put the word for number 4 in slot number 1. We don't want to put the word for slot number 12 in slot number 5. We want word number 1 to go into the number 1 slot here, word 2 to go into the number 2 slot here, and so on and so forth. So after you set this up, after you write all this down and click confirm, then it's going to go ahead and test you and say, all right, well, what is word number 4? Pick it on the screen. What's word number 8 or whatever it may be? And it's going to make you do this 3 times to make sure that you have your words in the correct order. So after you set up this process, we're going to jump back and finish the rest of this tutorial afterwards. So now the wallet's set up and we're going to be brought to this page that's going to say, hey, the wallet backup is complete, but let's go ahead and continue to our pin. So we're going to click on continue to pin. We're going to click set up pin. And after this, we're going to need to go back to our Trezor. And important part about this process is that the numbers won't be in the order of a typical keypad. The numbers are going to be kind of randomly generated in different spots. So when you're setting up your PIN, it can be up to 50 characters. A lot of us are probably used to a 4-digit PIN for a lot of our credit cards, debit cards, phone passwords, things like that. So make sure that it is more than a couple characters. You want it to be at least, I would say, 4 at the very, very minimum, probably more than that. But go ahead, pick up your Trezor at this point. Type in your PIN for what you want it to be. It's going to test you afterwards to say, hey, double check your PIN, kind of like confirming a password when you're signing up for something. And then we'll jump back right after we have our PIN set up here. And boom, our PIN is set. So it's going to say that make sure that you write down your PIN because this is going to be a really important piece of information as well for accessibility and security purposes. And now that we have that written down and memorized, we can go ahead and click continue. So now it's going to let us select the coins that we're interested in here. So let's just say I'm a simple man. I like to have Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and we're going to go with Cardano as well. So now that I have all of these coins selected, I can go ahead and click complete setup. And I can even set a name here if I want to. So I'll just call this Brendan for my wallet. And I can click on Access Suite. Now here we're going to want to click on Standard Wallet, which just means no passphrase. If you want to get more complex, you can use the Hidden Wallet as well. And this is what we're going to see as this just loads in. It'll probably take a second, so don't freak out if you are just seeing this for the first time and not everything's here yet. We got a nice little loading bar at the top, and things will begin to populate the longer that we have this open. And so depending on your computer, it might take a little bit shorter, it might take a little bit longer, again, depending on how new your computer is and your hardware inside. So now that I load in here, again, we just set up a brand new wallet, so we're not going to have anything in here yet. So the big question is, how do we add stuff to our wallet? Well, we can go ahead and click Receive. And when I click on Receive, I'm going to see all of these different cryptocurrencies that we just said that I wanted to hold a second ago. So if I want to receive Bitcoin, then I can go ahead and show my full address if I feel comfortable showing that. And then I can click on other things like Ethereum, and here I can click Receive as well. And so whenever I want to show my address to deposit Ethereum into, then I can show my full address for the sake of the video. It's going to say, hey, your address is here at the bottom. I can click on this, I can copy it, or I can use the QR code to send cryptocurrency to this Litecoin address. Now, let it be known here, these addresses are for the most part unique. So if I'm clicking on my Litecoin address and I click Receive, it's going to say LTC 1QN, so on and so on. If I click on Bitcoin and I click Receive, it's going to say BC 1QU. These are different addresses, which means that I'm not sending Litecoin to my Bitcoin address. I'm not sending Bitcoin to my Litecoin address. I'm not sending Bitcoin to my Ethereum address. I am only sending Bitcoin to my Bitcoin address, Litecoin to Litecoin, Ethereum to Ethereum, and so on and so forth. You get the picture here. Because if you don't do it this way, the odds are you're going to lose that crypto. So if you want to deposit money into your wallet, go in here, go to Accounts, and click the Receive button. Click Show Address, and you can use the QR code or copy the address that's at the bottom here. Now, the other half of this is, how do we get money off? Well, if I want to go back to Accounts, click on Bitcoin, and then click Send, well, now I can send Bitcoin from my wallet to another location, whether it's a soft wallet like MetaMask or it's an exchange like Coinbase. I'm going to be able to do that from here as well. So we have our funds, we're now able to send them, we're able to receive them, we can get a little bit more complex with this, but this is the bulk of what we are looking at here. We can see our account balances once we have them populated. We can see the total Trezor wallet balance. If we click on our little icon here in the top left, click on it and it's going to say, hey, your 4 different accounts being Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Cardano for me, because those are the 4 that I selected. This is your total dollar amount for these 4 wallets. And so that's really all there is to setting up a Trezor wallet. There's nothing too crazy. If you're using a Nano, then, or a Ledger, excuse me, then those could probably take up to 30 minutes. But the nice thing with Trezors is that it probably has altogether maybe a 10-minute setup process. And once you've done it once, you can probably do it in like 5 minutes. So it's a fairly easy, very, very safe and affordable way to make sure that your crypto stays safe.